How are we going, everyone? I'm burying, I don't know what I'm burying here. What's in here? There must have been some bugs in here too. I've got some I've got some old big Malacca tomatoes that I'll let in here dry out completely, and there's going to be at least a couple of dozen seeds out of the 100 or 1,000 that were in here that are going to germinate. So I've got some self-germinated ones over there. You can see over here there's other ones growing all over the place. This is a free-range garden. The spring onions have to come out because they've got rust on them, but the rest of it's doing okay. I'm going to get some flowers on these beetroot, and I'm going to keep those seeds as well so I can have some for next year. But for now I'm going to put these tomatoes in here like that. If you haven't sown your tomatoes, it's not too late. In actual fact, I've sown, well, I'm just sowing some now, but I sowed some in the mini hothouse, some of the heirloom varieties, and cucumbers, zucchinis and eggplants. The cucumbers are already growing. They're already, pushing their first couple of leaves out. The zucchinis as well. The eggplants are a little bit slow, but I reckon in about a week's time they'll be up. But like I said to you, the weather here is pretty harsh. We've had some really weird days. When the sun comes out, it's scorching hot. And now it's gone cloudy. It's late afternoon when we're filming this. And it's already dropped about 5 or 6 degrees. So, and I was actually out here watering earlier, and I've shown you the bird netting, and I'm actually noticing how different it is, vastly different it is, or better it is when I've got the netting over the plants. Let's come and have a look at this. Come over here. So this is the netting we built. Now I've done netting before. I had actually the first year that I was here, I built arches over this bed. It was actually a lot narrower than this. And I put it over the top, and it was the white netting. And I planted tomatoes down the centre every 80 centimetres, and I had alternating with eggplants and cucumbers and lettuce and all that sort of stuff. But the bird netting, I have it over the top. It just made a world of a difference to it. And I haven't done it before, since. I've done it plenty of times before, but I haven't done it since properly on a large scale. I've only done a little bit like this, a couple of plants over there. But after looking at this, and I'm not sure if you can see it through the video itself, but for me, I'm noticing just the silver beet on the outside, the garlic on here, the leek here. Look at that, that's just amazing. And the mustard plants are sitting beautifully. Now, these brassicas and lettuces were only planted a couple of weeks ago. They're bouncing out of the ground now. Netting like this stuff here, the bird netting that we have, it knocks out about it's not like shade cloth, it knocks out about up to 20%, I reckon, no more than that, maybe less when the sun's shining on it. So it does reduce the amount of direct sunlight it gets on the plant. So what does that do? It actually cools the plant down, keeps the soil cooler. But also in winter time, it reduces the amount of cold that gets in it. Yeah, it's got holes in it. How could that be possible? It does. It restricts it a little bit. And that's just enough to keep these plants looking healthier than the ones that I've got on the other side. Now, I made a deal with myself. I've agreed that as I was watering here, I go, that's it, I'm going to do it. Don't worry about the broad beans, they're fine, they're doing wonderfully well. Lettuce, the chicory in the background there's okay, but my spring, summer stuff that I'm going to plant, and I'm going to be planting so late because the weather's only just starting to come good, and our soil temperature really hasn't warmed up yet, but I am going to cover this whole area. I've made a decision. It's going to be pretty crazy. I've got the other garden bed to build on the other side, the raised beds. Now, on top of that, I'm going to start framing all this up so I can put some wildlife bird netting over the top. Black and white one, I'm going to do some trials. Some of it's going to be low like this because stuff that doesn't grow big, I don't have to go crazy. But stuff over there, when the broad beans come out and I put my beans in there, yeah, I'm going to frame it up properly. And I don't know how I'm going to get in yet, but I'll work that out. So if you have difficulty with your garden, with the weather that is, if it gets a bit too hot, as I'm finding it here, this sort of stuff here, the bird netting, and obviously it's got to be the small if you live in Victoria, the 4.9mm wildlife friendly bird netting. Don't use anything larger than that. It's been made illegal because of the damage and danger it has on the wildlife animals. Use a 4.9 wildlife friendly bird netting. Cover your plants and see how you go with that, because I think it's going to make a world of difference with watering, reduces the amount of water, reduces the heat, direct sunlight heat, and these plants aren't struggling, I can assure you. This garden bed was always struggling. I mean, all the garden beds have been struggling, but this one here, and I haven't even mulched the other side. I'm going back to the topic again, sorry, but yeah, look, there's no mulch on the other side, and those silver beet are looking tremendously well by comparison. And if you want to see by comparison, I'll show you the other side. We harvested some of the leaves on these earlier on, but still, they're getting bleached, a little bit too much sun on them. I mean, they can tolerate the full sun, don't get me wrong. Silverbread almost grows like a weed, but these are raised bed, yes, slightly different. The point here is by comparison to the amount of sunlight. So that 20%, up to 20% reduction in sunlight, direct sunlight, it's a scorcher too, folks. I mean, when it gets up to 30 degrees in summertime here, it can be blaring on it. And I reckon it'll burn the leaves on the plants this year. So for me, because I'm still learning to understand the microclimate I've got in this garden, and every year it's been slightly different. And this year, it's again different. I'm trying to work out when I should be planting, and I know a lot of you got your tomatoes in, your cucumbers in already. I have only got some germinating on their own, and our little ones that I planted are still taking their time to come on. So for me, it's way still too early for me to be planting my cucumbers and tomatoes, that is. But as far as protecting my plants, yep, I'm installing the wildlife bird netting anywhere I can, everywhere I can, so I can reduce the amount of heat that comes onto them. So if it gets too hot, I take it down by 20%, which is just enough as what I'm seeing over there. And if it gets too cold, it keeps the temperature slightly warmer so they don't freeze at night time. And if you're looking for wildlife bird netting friendly, that is, check out our website, vasili'sgarden.com. We've got it all on special. You get little pegs with them as well. It's all there for you. Take advantage of it and enjoy your gardening today. Hopefully you're having a wonderful day and weather wherever you are in Australia. And I'll see you in the morning. From me, Vasili, Maresi.